Welcome to the Cozza Lawcast, where life, business, and the law collide. And now, here's your host, attorney, and founder of the Cozza Law Group, Rocco Cozza.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Cozza Lawcast. In today's episode, I want to talk about actually probably one of my favorite topics, and that is LLCs. But I want to talk in particular about forming an LLC yourself. Now, I want to talk about this because, I'm part of these entrepreneur groups on Facebook. Some are free, some I pay for to be a member of. And they're really great groups. They have awesome people really trying to push each other to be better, to grow their businesses. And I just love being in those environments. And every once in a while, people ask questions, and there's always questions that come up. Hey, I'm looking to set up an LLC for my business. Can someone recommend a lawyer they've used? And there's always a few people that chime in and say, you don't need a lawyer. Just go to your state website and fill out the form. I did it myself. It's super simple. No need to pay a lawyer. Well, unfortunately, that's just terrible advice. And let me walk you through why. So yes, filing your LLC with your state is simple. My 11-year-old daughter can do it. I tell clients that when they call us to get it set up, if they start questioning the process and trying to determine whether they should do it themselves or pay us to do it, I'm very honest and say, hey, look, my daughter could fill out your state paperwork. That's the easy part. That's the part that doesn't really matter. That organizes you with the state, but it doesn't give you everything else you need. Now, let's take a step back and think about why you set up an LLC in the first place. Well, it's probably for asset protection, liability protection, or maybe it's for tax reasons, right? Maybe you have a successful service business and you're paying too much in taxes as a sole proprietor and you want to make an S-Corp election. Those are all great reasons to set up an LLC. But guess what? You need to have an operating agreement in place that says or has certain provisions that give you those protections and give you that ability to make that tax election. And I'll give you a couple examples, right? Say you have an LLC. Say you formed it yourself. Okay, say you're a contractor. You form this LLC yourself through the state website. You don't have an operating agreement. You go out and buy insurance. And you're working on someone's property and you cause damage. And all of a sudden, you get notice in the mail that your company's been sued, but you individually have been sued as well. And so you're like, great. Well, I have an LLC, I have insurance, I shouldn't have to worry about this. Let me just submit this to my insurance company. So you call your insurance company says, yeah, our policy does cover your LLC, and it will cover you if the LLC has agreed to cover claims against you performing work on behalf of the LLC. In that instance, you may think, how do I know if that's the case? Well, they're going to ask for your operating agreement. And if your operating agreement doesn't have indemnification language in it, basically language that says, hey, if you individually get sued for doing anything on behalf of the company will cover your claim. Without that language, that insurance company is going to say, well, sorry, we're not going to cover your claim. You're going to have to go out and get a separate lawyer and pay for those expenses yourself. That's an issue, right? That's just one thing that an operating agreement gives you. The second thing is liability protection, right? An operating agreement should have language in it that limits your liability as an owner. Now, if you go and personally guarantee debts, that's one thing. But if you just take on non-recourse debts through your company, maybe it's a trade account or a credit card where you don't personally guarantee it, but you don't have an operating agreement that says you're not liable for debts of the business, those companies may attempt to come after you to collect that money if your company would go belly up or you bankrupt the company or you couldn't pay the bills. These are important things to think about. And it's really, I always tell people, when it comes to business, right, there are certain things you should pay money for, certain things you shouldn't pay money for. Getting your foundation right is absolutely something you should pay money for. In setting up an LLC yourself through your state website, that's going to save you a couple $100. But think about the situations I just talked about. It could cost you tens of thousands of dollars down the road in the event something happens. Now I'm just talking about a single member LLC. Say you have multiple members. Say you have a partnership or 3 or 4 people that are working together in a business, and you do the same thing. You just form the LLC online yourself and you think you're set up and you start operating. But then a year from now, disagreements happen and people don't get along and there's questions about the money and the finances. Well, guess what? If you don't have an operating agreement in place, how are you going to sort that out? You're going to have to go to court and have the court determine what happens, how to resolve the disputes, how to dissolve the company, how to get a partner out. Those are all things that can be taken care of in an operating agreement. And if you don't have that in place, you're going to rely on the courts or the state statute to tell you how to resolve that. And that is the last place you want to go for that type of resolution. So it's really important, really important. Look, if you're in business, you've got to be willing to take risks. I understand that starting a business is expensive, it's scary, and you're trying to keep your costs down. I get that completely. That's why we work with our clients. We do flat fee billing. We don't charge an exorbitant amount of money for an LLC. We're actually very reasonable because we want to help our clients. But we also provide them a very well-structured operating agreement specific to their business so they can make sure they're protected. So the reason why I wanted to do this video is because I see this happen a lot. A lot of people out there are recommending to others, just do it yourself online. Just go to your state website, fill out the form, file your articles of organization or certificate of organization, whatever your state calls it, and you're good to go. And that's just plain false. That's just bad advice. And if you're following that advice, I would definitely rethink it. If you maybe already set up your LLC, that's okay. You can still get your operating agreement done after the fact. We actually do that quite a bit for clients. Clients may have set up their LLCs online and they realize, oh crap, I need an operating agreement. So they contact us and we draft them an operating agreement on a flat fee basis to really set them up correctly. So this is something you absolutely need to think about. This is something you absolutely need to consider when setting up your business. I hope this helped. This again is really meant to educate you. It's not considered legal advice. I mean, every state is different. So obviously, if you're forming an LLC, check with a lawyer in your state. If you're in Pennsylvania or West Virginia, you feel free to reach out to us. We can help you with any of those states as well. Again, hope you enjoyed this video. If you haven't done so yet, subscribe to the channel. Check us out on Facebook. I'll put the link down here. Go to our website, check it out there. And if you'd like to reach out to us through our website, just feel free to do that. I would be happy to help you with any business questions you may have. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you on the next episode.
Thanks for listening to the Cozza Lawcast, where life, business, and the law collide. To find out more about the Cozza Law Group, check out www.cozzalaw.com.